Round 16 action in the VFL. So our cameras head to Punt Road Oval for the first time, David Rees-Jones, in a very long time. We were excited to be here. The Richmond Footy Club had come home this season. They hadn't played competitive matches here consistently since 1964. They had a good side in, but they were playing Port Melbourne in a milestone game. It's always tough to beat.
Yeah, and Port Melbourne top of the ladder, and they showed why. Although, early in the first quarter, I thought that, Port Melbourne looked the goods and looked the best team in the competition. But Richmond fought back. We see Dan Connors there taking a mark and started the game very well. Was a real good focal point up forward. Alongside Bonadio, the big fella was also all right. But Richmond, I thought they used the ball a lot smarter and a lot better in that first quarter. And there was Knight kicking a pretty good goal and didn't have much influence on the game at all. But
well, Richmond led by 6 points at quarter time, to your point. But then Port Melbourne got moving in the second quarter. John Baird set up Tom O'Sullivan for that goal, which was a splendid finish. Bonadio brought it to ground. This was a rare highlight for Richmond in the second quarter. All they managed was one goal. This Ben Griffiths effort, Richmond, in that second term, while Port Melbourne couldn't quite knock them out, though. They added just 2 goals and 9.
Yeah, that's right. And Port, I think they had a couple out of bounds on the full as well. So it just shows the total dominance they had in that quarter. But they couldn't put them away on the scoreboard, which is always a dangerous sign. And knowing that Richmond are, they're professional athletes these days against a part-time side such as Port Melbourne, you always had in the back of your mind that Richmond could come back. But gee, they're a good team, Port Melbourne.
Well, it all clicked into place, more or less, in the third quarter. As we said, they had 11 scoring shots in the second, they had 11 in the third, but this time they managed to kick 5 goals 6 to set up the win.
Yeah, and they just dominated all the contested football, and that's where the game was won and lost today. It was as simple as that, really, but you never get an easy kick against Port Melbourne. That's one thing you know right before the game starts. You know it's going to be tough all day.
And late in the last quarter, it was evident that Port Melbourne were going to win the game, and so we had a few moments to reflect on the career of John Baird, playing his 200th game, a rare milestone and a splendid achievement for a great player in this competition.
Yeah, and a great leader of this club too. Combined with John Baird as captain and Gary Ayres as coach, two very, very good leaders at their club, and that's what keeps them in good stead. And Toby Pinwell, we see there, he's another fine leader out on the ground.
That was the last goal that Port Melbourne kicked, and that was at the 17-minute mark of the last quarter. They led by 56 points at that stage. Liam McBean and Matty Arnott cut the margin just a little bit towards the very end, but it was fitting that John Baird would be cheered off the ground to a guard of honour, both sides participating, as his side, Port Melbourne, ran out 42-point victors in the end. 13-19, 97 to Richmond, 8-7-55. The Borough remain on top of the ladder.